ruined the birth of my child, and I can't forgive her. I, a 39 female, had a baby girl a few months ago. Because I'm older and single, this is likely the only pregnancy and childbirth experience I'll ever have. The dad is involved but was in a different state for work at the time of my early, necessary C-section. When I was 37 weeks, the doctors flagged a potential complication and sent me straight from my appointment to the hospital to give birth. Thankfully, everyone is healthy. During my pregnancy, I daydreamed about new motherhood. One of the things I was excited about was how I would announce the birth. I wanted to get a nice photo and choose who I tell first. Here's where my aunt comes in. My aunt, 70 female, is something of a known, well-meaning pain in the ass throughout the family. She's incredibly pushy. She finds some new trend, for example, tapping, yoga, etc., and insists it will fix everyone's life if they do it. It doesn't matter how many times you say no, she'll leave pamphlets under the windshield wipers of your car. Many of her sentences begin with, I know you said you don't like this, but I know you told me not to, but I know you won't agree, but it's honestly enraging. Thing is, because my baby needed to be born early, my support person wasn't available. I have no siblings. My dad passed many years ago. My mother was extremely abusive during my childhood and has no interest in being in my life now that I'm an adult. My best friend lives pretty far away and has young kids. My child's dad was out of state for work, so I really had nobody to be with me. I appreciated my aunt's willingness to be there, and since I don't have a mother, so to speak, I really felt like I couldn't be too choosy if someone was willing to be there for me. So I put up with a lot of boundary crossing, a lot of insisting I try this or that while I was in a ton of pain and stress. She tried to push me to do meditation and I said no like 5 times. But an hour later, when I was in pain from the failed induction or getting my blood drawn, she'd clasp her hands and say, "You want to try the meditation now?" It was maddening and I was really hitting a breaking point. When my daughter was born, she cut the cord without asking me if I'd like to do it. She held my daughter before I got the chance. She shoved the camera in my face and recorded the moment I met my own child. I can't even watch the video now because I see myself nervously staring at the camera, self-conscious as she waves me to do something with my daughter. But I could forgive all of that. The big issue is what happened after my C-section. It was about 11 p.m. I was still shaky from the anesthesia. I was nauseous and numb. My daughter was only about 2 hours old. I was still processing what happened, helpless and unable to walk, barely able to think. My aunt stood over my bed, literally hovering over me, and asked if she could text the family to tell them I'd given birth. I told her no. She said, "Why not?" All I could repeat was, "No." She kept asking me why not. Then she finally said, "I don't accept that answer. There are people who are worried about you and we need to tell them right now." I told her I haven't even told my father yet, and she nodded and said, "Okay, I'll step out for 1 minute so you can call him, and then when I come back, we're telling the family." I was so numb and so tired and so confused, literally full of anesthesia, literally paralyzed and holding my daughter. I'd been a mom for less than 3 hours. I didn't know what was even happening. I called the dad and told him, and then when my aunt burst back in, I hung up on him. I don't even remember the conversation. She then stood over me and made me text the family. All I had was a blurry photo of my daughter, covered in blood and grease, wrapped hastily in a hospital towel. The following morning, a hospital photographer came and took beautiful pictures of my daughter in a nice swaddle with the hat I bought from home and a shiny pink ribbon. That is the photo I wanted to give to my family, but instead, the first photo that her dad and all of my friends and family saw is some blurry, bloody photo that my aunt took. Thinking about it now still makes me actually shake with rage. The dad is incredibly pissed as well. He feels like that moment was taken from him too. I did tell my aunt about this after I had time to process, and she apologized, but she's learned nothing. She continues to overstep. For my birthday, she gave me a present to mommy from my daughter. And that's the first gift from my daughter. I feel like that's something that her dad should have been able to do for me, or for my actual daughter to do when she's older. But even though we're not really that close, my aunt keeps acting like she's more involved than she actually has any right to be. She has 2 adult kids, both married, both in their 40s, and both having expressed no desire to have kids. She makes a lot of comments about if my daughter was her grandchild, etc. She even tried to use me to convince her daughter-in-law to have kids. The more time that passed, the more mad I get. That is my only child. That is the biggest day of my life. Even if I live to be 100, and even if I have 5 more kids, there's only one first. But all I see when I look back to that date is my aunt standing over my bed, phone in hand, waggling her fingers, eyes wide, talking in her hyper voice about how I need to tell everyone right now at 11 p.m. I don't know what to do. She said she was sorry, but that doesn't fix it. She has since done more things to show me her behavior will never change. When my daughter was a few days old, she brought a house cleaner to my house and made me pay them $600. Usually, typically in these situations when someone has a baby, as friends and family will send food to your house, DoorDash, gift cards, send a cleaner to your house that they would pay for. Why would she? That's what? They bleached the house and it stank so badly that I took my daughter out to the car. It was 25 degrees out, so I just sat in the heated car, holding my newborn baby, sobbing because I couldn't take it anymore. I called another family member and she came and got me and the baby. And I sat on her couch and cried for hours about how awful this has been. My aunt still doesn't get it. She thinks she helped me and that I'm just being unreasonable. My child's dad, who was the most mild-mannered, calmest, chillest, nicest guy, snarls a little bit when this aunt's name comes up. He tells me to stop answering her calls, and to be honest, I've started to do that, but the anger never goes away. You're still upset because you're not over it and you're not going to get over it because her apology isn't real. It's more of a, I'm sorry you feel that way, not I'm sorry for my actions. It's more of like, stop asking me about it. Shut up. I don't care that you feel this way. I don't want to talk about it anymore. A real sorry would have been like her changing her actions the way she is. Like if she really like, wow, I can't believe like I took away that moment from you. I wasn't even thinking about that. She's not going to change, unfortunately. And this is going to be the memory you have forever. That's just the reality of it. Just like take a few steps back, request space, and go no contact until you feel like you see some change and that you're more comfortable with having a relationship with her now. Take as much time as you need to like process the hurt, the betrayal, like the anger, and then decide from there how you want to proceed with it. She probably has good intentions. I get that. Most people do, but it doesn't take away from what happened. And I feel like you've expressed that she's not that close to you. I don't think she knows that because the actions show that she's very close to you and people do these type of things when they're close to you. So I think you need to create a boundary with her, be very serious about it, grow a backbone, and really express why you're setting it and what caused you to do it and the hurt you feel, and for her to really understand it, because I feel like you're kind of wishy-washy about it, which is what is leading to her doing all these things.
Am I the asshole for feeding my family a fish dinner while I eat steak and potatoes?
How did that come to be?
Fish dinner. Wow.
I'm 3 months pregnant, and almost every day I've been craving steak and sour cream baked potatoes. I never really cared for steak. I'm more of a chicken fingers and fries girly.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing the baby must have loved steak in its past life because that's literally all I crave when I don't even care for it. Today I made my family baked pizza spaghetti with fried catfish and
Baked pizza spaghetti.
I don't know what that's about.
They're just
But spaghetti and
smashing
fish.
words together.
Let me look that. What?
Spaghetti and fish, though.
Yeah. Catfish.
Catfish and spaghetti? Ooh.
Staple.
Actually, that's what I need to get in my next grocery run.
They cooked.
I need to get some catfish, man.
We're having catfish tonight.
Okay, this is actually kind of pissing me off. This pizza spaghetti.
What is pizza spaghetti? This
She said, I'm hungry, and you're
This
talking
is
about pizza
actually
spaghetti.
pissing me
just
off.
pepperoni on top?
The fuck is this?
I want to throw up, dude.
That's a casserole.
That made me mad, bro.
That's a
Tried
casserole.
to trick me again
What
with a
is
casserole.
that?
I knew something was wrong. That's a casserole.
I'm like, something don't feel right about this. And then you show a
look
casserole. I'm like,
good.
oh!
That does not look good.
I like how we all just, that's a casserole.
That's a casserole.
A salad with chopped deli meat, and dinner rolls. I, of course, am making the same dish I've been eating for almost every day these last few months. I pretty much make 2 separate meals each night for my cravings. Last night, after I served the kids and was getting ready to make my fiance's plate, he expressed that he wanted steak and potatoes like me. Mind you, he was aware of the menu because I have my meals planned the night before. I told him I only had that one steak for me, and he said, well, we can share. I politely told him that I will need to eat all of my food since I'm feeding for 2, and this is all I have for the night, knowing I'll most likely still be hungry while you guys have a meal you can come back for seconds. I'm now, in his words, a selfish woman using pregnancy as an excuse to be selfish.
You're done, bro.
I asked what's different about today and today than all the other days when I've literally been eating the same shit almost every day with no complaints. And he said nothing but shook his head and said, it's the principle, bae, and just walked away. We've barely spoken since, just a dry good morning and goodbyes.
My brother's girlfriend faked a seizure at my wedding. Have I been holding on to this for too long? I'm sorry for any mistakes I don't post often. About a year ago, my husband and I got married. My brother, 17 male, brought his girlfriend, 17 female, and I was okay with it. However, after the first dance, she faked a seizure because she didn't want to go home. My wedding was on a Sunday and a couple of hours from where we live. Her mom said it was time to go and she asked to stay in the hotel with my parents. My mom told her no because the hotel was booked out and the rooms were full. I have a lot of siblings. After the first dance, I was approached by my maid of honor and she informed me that she was having a seizure, and I ran to grab 2 paramedics that are related to me. There was also 2 nurses in there with her. The paramedics instructed me to call 911, so I did, and fire showed up to deal with her.
Oh my God.
After everything, they came back out and informed me that she was faking it.
Whoa.
We continued on with the wedding after that, but the vibe was gone and people started leaving. We tried to keep it going with bouquet toss and such, but there was only children there to catch it. My brother also missed the rest of the reception because she needed his attention. I started to clean up and she came up to me and gave me and my husband a half-sobbed apology. I don't know if I've been holding on to a grudge against her for too long though. I haven't talked to her since. My husband and mom have forgiven her, but my dad and I haven't. Thank you in advance.
This is just such a insane, selfish, crazy thing to do.
I wouldn't be able to get over this, I don't think.
And I would probably give my brother shit for it all the time.
Hope it's not his person because that's a really awkward life going forward to deal with like your sister-in-law being that person.